you guys? So today's video is going to be another heart-to-heart video all about breakups. And breakups are not fun. I have been through my fair share of breakups in the past, and some were hard, some were easier than others, and some were absolutely heart-wrenching. As you guys know, I am happily married now to the love of my life, Matt. I am so glad that I don't have to date anymore. I have my soulmate. I don't have to go through breakups anymore. But with that said, now that I don't have to go through that anymore, I thought that I would look back at my own experiences with relationships and tell you guys what I've learned, and hopefully it can help you if you're going through a breakup. As I said, I've been through my fair share of breakups. There have been a lot, and that could be a separate video, like a story time video. If you would like to see that, give this video a thumbs up and comment down below, and I could share some stories with you guys. So let's get into it. Breaking up sucks. Whether you are the dumper or the dumpy, it is not a fun time in your life. I will say that it is slightly easier to be the dumper than the dumpy, and that is just because no one wants to be rejected, no one wants to be blindsided, no one wants to feel like they're not wanted. Being broken up with literally sucks. Also, being the dumper sucks too. You don't want to hurt someone's feelings. You are ending a relationship with someone that you've spent so much time with. So there's sucky parts to both sides, but we're just going to talk about breakups in general, and I guess more so in the position of being broken up with. So the breakup itself, let's hope that the person who is breaking up with you is respectful enough to break up with you in a way that is decent, as in person, having a conversation face to face, not breaking up through an email or a text or a phone call or a post-it note. I know that every situation, every relationship is different. There are long-distance relationships, and, you know, I get that you can't wait 2 to 3 months to break up with someone to be in person, so I get that that's where the phone call would come into play. Whichever way it's going down, I know that there's going to be tons of emotions, sadness, anger, confusion, all of those feelings. I have been there, I have felt them all, and I can say that when I was younger, I would try to hold back my tears because I had too much pride and I didn't want the person to feel like they hurt me, I guess. And as I grew older, I realized that holding in those emotions wasn't really benefiting anything. I didn't feel good about not letting my emotions out. So as I got older, I would cry. If I would get broken up with, or if I was dumping someone, I would cry. I would let it all out. I wasn't embarrassed. I was sad, as anyone should be in a breakup. It is okay to be sad, and it's okay to be vulnerable. You do not have to have too much pride to not express emotion. Aside from sadness, you're probably going to be angry, and that is one thing that I know can cause us to lash out and say insults and say things we don't mean to hurt the other person. And I would try to refrain from that, just because later on in life you're going to look back and say, you know, I really wish I hadn't said those things because I didn't really mean them. So just try and refrain from lashing out in that way, and I promise you'll feel so much better. Your conscience will feel so much better later on, and you'll come out as a better person because of it. So now that you're broken up with, it sucks. And I know that you are probably thinking about them 24/7, and you want to Instagram stalk them, Twitter stalk them, Facebook stalk them, whatever it is. You want to see what they're doing, who they're hanging out with, who they're talking to, where they're going, how they're feeling. I just wouldn't recommend it. I would cut off ties. Cut. I mean, does anyone really stay friends with their exes? I don't think I'm friends with an ex. It's just a weird situation. You move on with your lives separately, and that's just kind of how it is. But anyways, if you do want to be friends with them, I would wait a long while until those feelings are gone, and then you can be friends. But in the meantime, cut off all ties. Don't follow them on anything. And just don't look, because if you're constantly looking, that's where your time and energy is going, and that's not where it should be going. Your time and energy should be focused on yourself and moving on and not thinking about that person and worrying so much about what they're doing. So with that, I would probably delete their number from your phone. As someone who used to go out and drink with their girlfriends after breakup and then would drunk message them, that was a no-go. I would do that a lot, and it was just embarrassing. You wake up in the morning, you're like, why did I do that? So dumb. So like, delete their number from your phone. I know sometimes you might have it memorized. I never really had memorized a phone number. I mean, once you get cell phones, like, you don't have to memorize a phone number, I guess. So delete them from your phone just to kind of prevent the drunk texting, drunk calling from happening. Another thing that I find is very helpful if you're having a hard time with a breakup, as I'm sure you are, is to write a letter to that person with everything that you're feeling, any questions you have, just write it all out. Getting your feelings out on paper and all of your thoughts out and looking them over is really, really therapeutic in my opinion. I wrote letters all the time. I'm just a writer. I love to write my feelings out, but I never sent the letters. I never gave them the letters, except maybe one time. One time, maybe. Maybe I did. Maybe twice. I don't know, but most of the time I would just write the letters, get it out, put them in a box somewhere, and like years later I would look at that letter and be like, oh my gosh, like, I've moved on from that and I came out stronger. And you just remember kind of how crappy you felt at that time, and you realize you can move on from it and you will survive. So I do recommend writing letters. If it's something that you really feel like that other person should know, by all means, send it. You don't have to be embarrassed about it. It's just getting something off of your chest. Because sometimes when you are in the heat of a moment of a breakup, you don't have time to really articulate your thoughts or your feelings, and you don't know how to really get them out. So writing them down is very, very helpful. Like I said, you don't have to send it, but if you do, then more power to you. Another thing about breakups is there are days that you want to stay in bed and you don't want to do anything and you don't want to see anyone. Like, have those days, but don't stay there forever. Don't wallow in your bed forever. You have to get out and do things. You have to go out with your girlfriends. Get dressed up, put makeup on, have fun. That's like really important. You don't even have to go out. It's not a matter of like going out to find a guy or whatever. It's just a matter of going out, feeling pretty, feeling happy, having a good time with your girls. You know, you can also have girls' night at home where you just have your girls over and drink wine and watch Sex in the City. Those are always great times. Make sure you are socializing, because it really does help to get out of your house and out into the world and out into society. One thing that I always used to do, like after a breakup, was dye my hair. I felt like I wanted a change. I wanted a fresh start, a new me, all that stuff. And you don't have to go as drastic as dyeing your hair, but, you know, getting a trim or getting a facial or a massage or anything that's kind of pampering, that makes you feel good and is completely selfish, that's going to make you feel so good. I think putting time into yourself and spending a little bit of money on yourself, treating yourself, is really, really good after a breakup. I'm not saying like go buy the whole mall or, you know, get every beauty treatment in the book, but get one thing that makes you feel good and then come out of there like a new woman, you know? Another thing that I also liked to do after a breakup was to rearrange like my apartment. I would move things around, feng shui it up. It gives you new surroundings and it doesn't remind you of anything. It kind of feels like a new place you're living in. Move your bed to another side of the room or flip your couch or whatever it is. Switch up your surroundings of where you're living and it's going to feel like a fresh kind of start. Learn to start doing things by yourself. I know at first it might be like kind of scary to do things by yourself, like go to a movie by yourself or go to dinner by yourself or whatever, but it's actually really, really nice and it's actually very therapeutic to just go somewhere by yourself and enjoy your own company, because you don't need a man to make you feel like you're having a good time. Have a date night with yourself. Go to the damn movies. Buy yourself a popcorn. Buy yourself an icy. Watch whatever movie you want to see. Laugh at the parts you want to laugh at. Cry at the parts you want to cry at. Whatever it is. Or go to dinner and get whatever you want. Pick whatever restaurant you want. Get what wine you want. Like, this is your date. You don't have to share it with anybody. It's really not that scary. It's actually quite nice. And I challenge you to do that and to learn that it's cool to be on your own. Sure, you could invite your friends to go to dinner with you or go to the movies or do whatever you're doing, but take that time to yourself. You don't need to be surrounded by people all the time, which I know that I had mentioned before, to get out of the house and spend time with friends and family, but don't do that every single day. You need to feel that void. You need to feel what it's like to be alone, because it's so important to be alone and not just try and replace that guy with friends and family or another guy. Like, you need to have that hole in your heart for a bit and fill it up with yourself. It's very important to never lose sight of who you are. And if you're constantly with people, or you're constantly in a relationship, or you're constantly just trying to find a rebound guy or whatever it is, you're never going to have that time with yourself, and you're going to get even more lost. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that if you're going through a breakup, that you know that you are going to be okay, and you don't need anyone to complete you, and you don't need to be in a rush to find someone new. Spend some time by yourself. It's okay to feel these feelings. There is no time frame for moving on. Some relationships, like I said, are easier to get over, and some are so hard that you find yourself crying until you can't breathe and want to puke, and you just want to stay in bed, and they're absolutely gut-wrenching. I have been through one of those in my life, and it took a long time to get over, but I did it eventually. And you know, looking back on it, I wonder why it was so hard, and I wondered why that relationship itself was so hard to get over. But you know, some things are beyond our control. Our hearts are drawn to certain people and certain relationships in different ways than others. Take your time in moving on, but make sure that you are not wallowing forever in sadness and in memories of that relationship. Everything happens for a reason, I promise. This is only going to make you stronger, and it's only going to teach you so much about life and yourself and what you want in a relationship. So just trust in it. Just keep moving forward and stay as positive as you can be. And I will see you guys in the next video.